Should you self-manage or use a letting agency? In this video, I'm going to explain all. My name's Wayne Beecham and I'm the Managing Director of Progressive Lets. I've been managing rental properties across single lets, houses of multiple occupation and service accommodation for over 20 years. Progressive Lets has been managing single let properties, HMOs and service accommodation units since 2012. We cover Cambridgeshire, Northamptonshire and Lincolnshire. We both assist landlords in the management, but also the sourcing and converting of individual properties and projects. If you've been watching the videos on this channel, you've been seeing the projects that Mark and Rob have both been doing. As Mark and Rob are my business partners, Progressive Lets have been an integral part to managing their individual projects as well as projects for individual clients. Managing in excess of 1,500 properties. I work with a lot of new landlords starting their property journey and they always ask me, should I self-manage or use a letting agency? And I'm going to explain it all right now. But before we start, can you ensure you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell? So you've bought your first investment property and now you have two options. Do you use a letting agency or do you self-manage? As legislation is changing year on year, you want to ensure as a landlord that you remain and stay compliant. Introductions of selective licensing in areas, through to EPC regulation changes, through to the introduction of EICRs, which is electrical safety certificates, which are now in place. It's important that all of these are in place and aligned for your first tenancy. A good letting agency will be acting in its landlord's best interest by ensuring all of the technicalities and compliance adhered to, ensuring that landlords are making the most money from their investment in terms of cutting edge marketing techniques, as well as taking away the time restraints and hassle of self-managing your property and the problems and headaches that you can find when dealing with tenants direct. So what are the cons of self-managing your property? Firstly, the time restraints and creating another job in having to manage all the complexities of a tenancy and letting an individual property. Having to keep up to date with the latest marketing strategies to ensure that you are minimising voids and maximising returns on your investment. The self-managing model is just not scalable. As you start to add more properties to your portfolio, the tasks of marketing, rent collection, staying compliant, maintenance phone calls both in hours and out of hours. So what are the pros of a letting agency? The letting agency will ensure that you remain compliant. They will systemize the whole process using modern day technology to maximize your returns by advertising your property on all the major portals with all the latest cutting edge techniques, therefore generating more interest in your property, reducing void periods and supplying the best quality tenants. All the way through the tenancy in managing the maintenance calls, those difficult phone calls and conversations, and in essence freeing your time up for higher value tasks. Using a letting agency is the most streamlined way of managing your property portfolio, not having to be burdened with the concerns of new compliance and changes in regulations, new licensing structures, and just being able to focus on growing your property portfolio. Being a property investor is a business, therefore allowing the letting agency to run that business and free your time up for higher level tasks to expand your portfolio and even look at alternative strategies. So outside of London, a letting agency on average will be charging 10% plus VAT of the rent collected on a single let property, 14% plus VAT for a house in multiple occupation, and 18% plus VAT for a serviced accommodation unit. So the differences between the three: a single let property is a standalone property with one tenancy, usually referred to as a house or a flat. A house of multiple occupation, usually referred to as a HMO, is a property that's been split into individual rooms, therefore can consist of 4, 5, 6 tenancies in one property. A serviced accommodation unit is very different to the other strategies. This is where a property is normally marketed on portals such as Airbnb and Booking.com and has guests that stay by the night. So breaking down those numbers on a standard single let property in our area, say for example a 2-bedroomed house or flat which would rent for about £800 per calendar month, the agent is going to be taking £80 plus VAT for their ongoing services. So therefore, when you really think about it, £80 to a letting agency versus the amount of time and investment that you need to put into managing your own properties is money well spent. Further cons of using a letting agency can often be seen as the transparency in communication, where landlords prefer to get the information directly from the tenants. But actually, most times this can be mitigated by talking to the letting agency, where communication from any tenant can be open and transparent with the individual landlord. So this is where Progressive Lets positions itself in the marketplace. Often landlords will go to corporate style agents with estate agency and lettings together and don't receive the bespoke service that they want. With Progressive Lets, which has been built by landlords for landlords, we have a deeper understanding of what landlords need and want, and this is reflected in our services, which is why we offer the management of single let properties, house of multiple occupation properties, and serviced accommodation units, but also a more bespoke service for each individual landlord, ensuring that they're receiving the service that they want and it is more tailored to that individual. So now we've reached the end of this video, I want to give you some value in return in the form of some free downloads. In the description of this video is a landlord's compliance checklist download. This will allow you to be able to check your property compliance, whether you're a self-managing landlord or to assess your current letting agency. This is what we use in our letting agency to ensure compliance on our properties. Also in this description is a free property report download, which will keep you up to date with everything property investing. So whether you're looking to start property investing or you're already an experienced landlord with a property in Cambridgeshire, Lincolnshire or Northamptonshire, I would love the opportunity to be able to discuss your property requirements further. You can contact me today and all the details are in the description below. So if you've enjoyed this video, click that like button, subscribe and press that notification bell. And I'm Wayne Beecham from Progressive Lets. Thank you very much.